Hi everyone, my name is Lori, my nickname is Rini, and I'd like to welcome you to Rini Bobini Creations. If this is the first time you stop by to check out my channel, I'd like to offer you a very warm welcome. I do hope you like what you see, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and sharing with your fellow crafters. For my amazing subscribers, welcome back. I hope you love this one too, and please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really does help us out. So for today's craft, we're still staying with the outside and sort of a nautical type theme, and we are going to make this little sea glass lantern. And I think it turned out pretty cute. I may make another one where the whole thing looks like sea glass, I'm not sure yet. But let me stop yakking at you, and we'll get on with the crafting. So for today's craft, I thought what I would do is I use picture frames all the time, but I usually don't need the glass when I'm making things. So I've had all these little squares of glass, and I thought I have an idea to use them. So if you are like me, now they don't have to be this size. This size was, I think, what was it here? But you can use whatever size you have in your stash. So that's not going to matter, but just for the sake of. So I think they're 4 by 6. In fact, I'm sure they are. Yes, but you can use whatever you have. And if you don't have any, the dollar store, of course, they're super cheap. I think I paid like, I don't know, like 25 or $1 for all of these. But don't throw your frames and stuff away, because I'm sure there'll be a use for them. So I just washed them up. You're gonna need these dowel. These, of course, came from the Dollar Tree too. They're the square ones. They'll work better. You can use the round ones. They're going to be a little bit more finicky to work with. So we've got those. These cork lights. These work perfect for this. So pick yourself up a set of those. If they don't have these kind, you can get the other kind. They will work. I just find because the wire on these is so much thinner than the other plug-in lights, these are a better kind of a fit. We're going to need our sea glass. Again, dollar store. And then I just dug into my stash and I found some seashells, I've got some sand dollars, that sort of thing, and we're going to use those later. But to start, we're going to start with our sea glass. You're going to want E6000. And we're just going to work it like a puzzle. So I'm just going to do like the bottom bit and work my way around on all 4 of them. So to attach our glass, I am going to use nail glue. And the reason for that is, 1, I have it on hand, and 2, because it will set up quite quickly. And I just did this one. You can see it doesn't leave a lot of goopy residue on the back. So I just want to try it before I showed you to make sure, yes, that is going to work. Now, I do my nails every now and again, not as often as I used to, time being a factor, but I didn't use the glue that came with it. I don't think it works that well. So I tried it on jewelry and it worked beautifully on anything glass. So that's where that came from. So if you don't have that, essentially nail glue is crazy glue. That's essentially what it is. So you can just pick up some nail glue. Now you certainly can use your E6000. It will work just fine. But you might get a little bit more on the backside. Now you're not going to see the backside a whole lot, but being that the whole thing is glass, it will show through a little bit. So if you can, use the crazy glue, or if you have stashes of nail glue like I had, go with that. If not, just your whatever will adhere to glass will do the trick. Now I've messed up my whole thing and now I'm annoyed. So for the next step, after our glass is all on, I want these to look like a little bit weathered. I don't want them to look all new. Now, of course, you can do them whatever suits your decor style. If you want to leave them, if you want to stain them, paint them a specific color, any of that would work. So I'm going to use some gray now because I don't have any gray on hand. I'm going to make some gray. And I'm going to make it very watery, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So I'm going to just take my rough brush, and I'm going to add a fair amount of water. I'm going to do it a couple of times until I've got like quite a watery. So I want it to look more like a whitewash than an actual paint. I'd like the wood grain to kind of show through. So then I'm just gonna paint it on, but once I've got it painted on, I'm gonna go back over it with just a wet brush. I'm not gonna rinse all of the paint off, it's not necessary, but I am gonna wash a little bit off. Might add just a smidge more black to that gray just to make it a little bit. What I may do is just make it a bit streaky, like not mix it all the way. So we have some streaks. Let's see how that works. That's a bit better. You do want to do the tops and bottoms, and the top one will show. Then I'm just going to give it a quick wipe. And then we've got that sort of gray weathered look, but you can still see the wood grain through it. And of course I'm going to do that to all of them. So the last thing we're going to do before we have all our pieces ready to put it together is I don't want to lose the natural beauty of these, but I do want to enhance them a little bit. So I'm using a pearl glaze. Now you can, of course, paint them. You could even paint seams on them if you wanted to. or just find any sort of a pearl glaze. I know Walmart, and I don't think I've seen any at the dollar store, but Walmart carries them. This is actually from Michael's. It was on sale, so I grabbed that one. And I'm just going to go over them with a quick coat of this. So it's not going to change the color, but it's going to give it a sheen. And that's kind of just what I'm going for. So just the other thing it will do, especially on these sand dollars, is it gives them a little bit more strength. I mean, they're still quite fragile, but it does help a little bit. So you can see it's still painted a different color, and maybe in my camera, I hope you can see, it's just shiny. And it does like tone down the color for sure, but it is just to give it a pearl finish here. I wish my house would support a teal color, because I do love those, because I have a teal pearl glaze that would be gorgeous. So if you're someone that has the teal incorporated, and if you can't find that, you could just add a drop of color to the pearl glaze that you do have and make it match. And that would be quite pretty too. Okay, so now to put this together, we're going to start with 2 at a time. We need to find the center of both our doweling and our glass piece. So the doweling is 9 inches, so we're going to do 4.5 on 2 of them. Okay, and then for our glass piece, we need to find center. I'm just going to grab something else I can write with. Oh, not that one. So this is just a dry erase, so it will come right off, so I can mark my glass. And 3. So we're going to line the centers up like so. And we want them to be all the way in. And just to make sure, we want them to be straight. So it's going to be like that. So to adhere it, I've got Gorilla Glue. I'm hoping that it dries clear enough that I don't need to hide the edges. If it doesn't, we'll go to plan B. But I'm going to water it down just a little bit so it's a bit easier to spread. So I'm just going to use a wet paintbrush. And, oh, should have marked how far down I needed it. Okay. There we go. And so I'm just going to paint my glue on. place our now, if for some reason your dowels are just ever so slightly a different size, you can go ahead and adjust them. What we want to make sure of though is that the bottom, so I'm just gonna, is flat. You're better to have a slight off at the top that nobody's going to notice than the other way around. Okay, so we're going to do that to the next two as well and let those get good and dry. When they're good and dry, we will move on to getting the next parts in. Okay, so to put the other two on, we're going to use the two glue method because I do want it to hold and not tip and break while we're putting it together here. So I'm going to put the hot glue where the sea glass is to kind of hide it because it's not pretty. The other ones, you can see it stayed pretty clear. It didn't go kind of funky, so we're good with that. So again, just using the Gorilla Glue, I'm going to do the same thing. Only, as I said, I'm just going to put some hot glue here at the bottom just to hold things in place while everything gets good and dry. So again, fairly wet brush for my Gorilla Glue. Leave that little spot at the bottom. Put my little bit of hot glue. Oh, I should have done this in the other way. Ooh, wasn't thinking. And again, we'll let it dry and then we're going to flip it over and do it one more time on the other side. Okay guys, so it's all put together. Now one thing I should have thought of and I didn't, when you are gluing your glass onto your dowel rods, use tape when you get them. I forgot that step on one and it slid just a little bit. They sort of slide on the glue. So it's just a smidge off, not enough that I'm gonna do anything, but I thought, oh, I'll mention that in the video to make sure that nobody else does that. So now we've got our little cork string lights and I'm gonna go around the bottom and I'm just gonna pop them in with hot glue. Now I'm gonna kind of, there's quite a bit, so I'm gonna kind of scrunch them so the lights aren't as far apart, so I can get a couple. So I'm going to go around the bottom and then I'm going to go up the legs. So we're just going to see how far we get with that. I'm hoping I get as far, I'm hoping I know how far it'll go. I kind of measured it out, but we'll see. So and I'm just going to use a little hot glue to hold them in place. Now it's going to be a bit of a pain, of course, depending on the size of your glue gun, to actually get it stuck in there, but I'm going to put it behind the sea glass because we don't want the glue bits to show. Where's my little finger thing? There we go. And then I'm going to unwind it with trying not to, and I don't know how something so Easy can always get tangled, but we're going to do our best. Yeah, okay. That's not tangled on, that's a pain in the butt. And then I'm going to go up the leg. I know it's going to be really hard to see, but I think you can understand by the, now because I don't want to go across the top and show that, have that wire show, I'm just going to double it so it goes up and back down the same leg. Okay, so when I get it up, I'm going to put just a bit of glue, hot glue on the leg itself to hold it in place. I'm going to flip this, being very careful because it is rather fragile actually. So I'm going up the one side, and then I'm going to take it down and go down the other side, if that makes sense. I'll try and show you here in a minute once I've got it glued so you can see better what I'm trying to accomplish here. Now you can't completely hide the wires, and that's not even going to be a thing, it'll be fine. But I don't just want them sort of everywhere either. For some reason I tangle these every time. It doesn't matter how careful I'm trying to be, I still tangle them. Okay, now. So let me get that one in place and then I'll show you how I'm doing it. And if you come up with a better way, by all means, go with that. So make sure it stays in place. So I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can show you without dropping this. So I went up on this part and then I went down on this part, if that makes sense. So hopefully you can see what I've done there. And then I'm just going to go on to the next, go across the bottom where the glass is. I don't know how I tangle it every time. It's not that hard, I'm sure. Just for me, apparently. And we'll just continue all the way around our lamp like that. Okay, so I did just, you can see I've just put the cork in the corner there. It's kind of hiding behind the glass, so you can't really see it when it's standing on end. And so the last thing is just to put our cute little embellishments on. Now I will eventually, or later on, actually use more of the Gorilla Glue, but just in the interest of time and the fact that I need to get my video done, I'm going to use hot glue to put our shells and things on. But I would suggest, if you have the time, just go ahead and use the right, you know, your Gorilla Glue or whatever, something that's going to dry clear and not make a muck on the other side, because you do see it a little bit through. But as I said, just because I need to get my video uploaded and I'm running out of time, I'm just going to put it on with a little bit of hot glue just for now, just so you can see the final product here. So on opposite sides, you can do it however suits you. I'm going to do the one shell and the two shells on the other side, and same with my sand dollars. But whatever configuration you like, whatever works for you, do that. So there it is, all done up. I will get some better pictures of it for you, and I'm hoping, I know sometimes with lighting, trying to get good pictures of it lit up, they're not always the best, so I'm going to do my best for you and see what I can do, and we'll get it all finished up.